Hello, my name is Jordan Brooks, Director of Market Analytics with ALN Apartment Data, and in the latest installment of our Takeaways series, we'll be digging into the most recent monthly newsletter from ALN, which was titled Culmination of Multiyear Demand Trend Beginning to Unfold. And what that title is referencing is sort of a longer-term trend that's been in place since really 2022, where we've seen apartment demand nationally slowly but steadily improving from kind of that trough level for the last 5 years or so. And the last piece of the puzzle, as we wrote in our expectations for 2025 newsletter a few months ago, the last piece of the puzzle was really Class D apartment demand. We'd seen improvement initially in 2023 for Class A and Class B. In 2024, we saw robust improvement for Class C. And then Class D last year did improve some, but net absorption was actually still negative for the year. So coming into 2025, we were really looking for Class D to kind of join the party of improved apartment demand. So far this year, that's what we've seen. And certainly over the last 12 months, we've also seen sort of that robust improvement in Class D. So the newsletter was really walking through not only apartment demand for all four price classes, but how that's played out across the rent performance as well. But sort of the headline takeaway and what that title is referencing is the fact that now we've seen improvement in Class A, B, C, and now most recently Class D. So all of that was good. In the newsletter itself, there really was not any mention of specific markets. And so I wanted to just mention now some sort of market level highlights. When you look at Class C and Class D net absorption as a group, markets that were top 10 or top 15 really in the nation for both Class C net absorption and Class D net absorption. There were a handful. In general, you're talking about Atlanta, Austin, Charlotte, Orlando, and Tampa. Those are really the only ones that were top performers, again, both for Class C and Class D demand. When you break them out individually and just look at Class C, your top performers, aside from those markets I just mentioned, New York, Houston, Nashville, Dallas-Fort Worth, and San Francisco, Oakland. And then for Class D, again, which really was, as I've said, that sort of the last piece to the puzzle for apartment demand overall. Those markets that have done the best for Class D demand over the last 12 months, Las Vegas, St. Louis, Jacksonville, Phoenix, and Raleigh-Durham. So you see in particular with those Class D market leaders, it's not just the largest markets. Those markets tend to be high growth Sunbelt markets, with the exception really of St. Louis. So an interesting dichotomy there, but those are sort of your market level top performers. And then, another issue that I wanted to touch on briefly is just the latest CPI data that came out. So inflation obviously continues to be a major component of the economic drivers that are operating outside of the multifamily industry and influencing the multifamily industry. And I thought this month in particular for the April data, there were a couple of items that really were worth just pointing out really quickly. So in general, services rather than goods were where we saw inflation growth in the last month's data. And again, that report goes back over 12 months and then will also show month over month changes. So services is really where the inflation was focused, not on the goods side. What that means is that so far, we're not really seeing tariff related inflation for goods. That may change in the coming months, but April was kind of the first month in which that would have shown up in the data had there been that effect, and we didn't see it in the April data. For services, again, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because inflation going up, generally not good, obviously, but the fact that inflation went up in services is a positive indicator for demand for services, which is a reflection of consumer sentiment, positive consumer sentiment, positive household financial situation, and that people are still spending money on services. But a couple of the real sort of top line items that we're adding to that services inflation that are worth pointing out: food away from home, so that's restaurants essentially, car insurance, car maintenance and repair, and then tickets, which would refer to movies, concerts, sports events, etc. So what you'll notice is that, again, those service line items for increased inflation have a lot to do with people going out and spending money, restaurants and entertainment essentially, which in terms of apartment demand is actually a fairly good sign. And then on the good side, again, no real positive momentum to speak of on the good side for inflation, and a couple of areas that actually came down that again are positive benefits for apartment demand: apparel, shoes, gasoline, food, meaning groceries, all went down. And I think probably the headline number was a 13% monthly decline in the price of eggs. So in terms of daily spending that households are doing, clothes, groceries, gas, all of that went down, which is obviously positive to see for multifamily. So overall, even though the CPI number went up, sort of as the top line number, once you dig into the line items, some pretty good news for multifamily in the latest data. So with that, some upcoming events that may be relevant to you. Trend Shaping Multifamily. This is a webinar that ALN is putting on and hosting. I'll be going through kind of the latest in multifamily performance data nationally, breaking down some regional and market level data as well. That'll be on May 28th. So registration is open for that. Be on the lookout across our social media channels to register for that complimentary webinar. Also, I'll be speaking in Orlando at the Developers State of the Market Luncheon on May 29th. And I'll also be doing a session with Shar McCurdy and Alexandra Jaku at NAA Apartmentalize. Our session is on June 11th, that afternoon. It's a Wednesday. I believe it starts at 2 p.m. local time. And the session is called Digging into Details, Unearthing Success No Matter What Your Market. So be on the lookout for that as well if you're attending Apartmentalize. And other than that, ALN Apartment Data on your social media platform of choice. You'll find all of our written content as well as other additional information and content. So see you next month.